Hello, welcome to day one of Unbecoming. Ooh, first time also streaming live on YouTube. So I'm just going to take a bit to get a little bit used to this, but hopefully you can hear me all right. I'm really excited to be doing a live stream and this free training series. So it's Unbecoming. It's all about unlocking your potential, rewriting your reality, and specifically over 5 days, we're going to be going into how to change your identity, your self-concept. So the way that you see yourself, we're going to be starting with that today. How to reprogram your subconscious mind, and also how are you regulating your nervous system, not just in a peaceful way, feeling calm, but how are you regulating your nervous system to be able to expand for bigger capacities? Because when we bring all of these things together, understanding our self concept and identity, when we understand what's happening in our mind, the mindsets and the belief systems that we live by, when we are able to regulate our nervous system to different capacities, we can completely change our life. And all of these are part of my WoMastery framework. So WoMastery stands for Woman Mastery. This is also a brand new mastermind that I am opening up applications for 2024. And so this 5 day series is really going to give you a little bit of a preview of what's to come in 2024 and in my containers. And I'm super excited to be bringing this live series, this training series from YouTube. I normally am such an Instagram girl, and I'm wanting to do it and expand my horizons and expand to different ways of doing things, which is something we'll go into specifically when it comes to day 4 and 5. But today we're going to go over a framework. I aim to keep these trainings short, sharp, and concise. I am someone, I love what I do. I love speaking about the frameworks that I have created, the frameworks that I've seen so many women, so many of my clients, so many of my friends be able to take on board and really start to use them in their day-to-day life and they work. And so I'm super excited to be able to bring this into the public and share this and share these frameworks that actually work. And today I'm going to be going into a very specific framework, but I digress. What I was saying is I do aim to keep these trainings nice, short, and sharp, just something that you can take. Now, one of my biggest things, and I'm probably going to say this for every single training day over this next week, is make sure that you take at least one thing from each of my videos and you are putting into action straight away and coming up with a plan of attack. I think it's really, really easy to consume personal development, to consume new things, to get really excited and get that dopamine hit of, oh my God, if I watch this training or if I sign up to this training, then I'm doing something and making progress. And then a couple of weeks later, you think, oh, well, I'm seeing no progress. I'm seeing nothing different in my life. It's because that dopamine hit. And again, this is something I'm going to go over in the next few days, but it's because that dopamine hit spike. It makes you feel like you're doing something, and so you keep this forever loop. So in saying that, what I do really, really, really encourage, and I'll keep encouraging, I'll sound like a broken record, is making sure you are taking one thing and you are taking action on it straight away. So without further ado, let's jump straight into day one. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about identity, self-concept. I'm going to be going into a framework called the Upside Down Why framework. Now, if we look at identity, if we look at self-concept, right, we can use these two interchangeably. And one thing that I always look at with my clients is who they see themselves as, who they really want to be, but what is their actions? What are the things they are doing on a day-to-day that don't add up to who they see themselves? This is really about discerning what are the things that you are doing that are keeping you in the same loops, that are keeping you in the same patterns, that are keeping you stagnant at not moving forward, whether this is in your career, whether this is in your business, whether this is in your relationships, your money, your health and your wellness, whatever it is. And in these trainings, all of the frameworks and everything that I share with you, the concepts, they can be taken for any part of your life. So I'll should have said that at the start, but everything I share can be taken, and I have created them in this way so they are able to be used in every single area rather than just one thing or having to learn a million different things. So really start to look at who you see yourself as and who you are aiming to be. But what's the gap in between there? What do you feel is something or the things or the habits? You know, the first thing to always look at when it comes to our identity is the traits and the habits. What really is fact? I think something that can be really, really confronting when we are trying to change ourselves is having First of all, having a big vision, right? I do believe in having a big vision, whether that is quite literally a vision board, whether it is what you future script journal about. All these things are tools, all these things are great. But the framework that I'm going to share with you today is something that I've seen really pinpoint the areas where women are stuck, for lack of a better word, are stuck in doing the same things and stuck where they are. And so it kind of feels like they're never making progress. And so the most confronting thing, I think, when it comes to identity is actually being super honest with ourselves of who we are and what we are doing moving forward. Being super honest with what our identities look like. Now, the framework, let's go into the framework because this is really going to help. I just really want you to get visual here and just imagine this. So, the framework, I can come up with a better name, but I'll just share this. It's called the upside down Y framework. So, if you understand what an upside down Y looks like, so basically it goes like this, right? Upside down Y. Take it and you flip it. In this section, so just quite literally imagine, I wish I could do like a live whiteboard, like Zoom on this live, but just imagine that this section here is your old identity. This section over here is your new identity. So what you're aiming for, and then this bit in the Y section, the cross, is the in between. Now, if you were watching the replay of this, definitely just pause, draw it out. This is one of the things where I highly recommend don't just listen and think it sounds really cool and something that sounds great. Actually do it. And it's such an easy task. As with all my frameworks, I want them, I came from some bit of background. I came from someone who consumed personal development so much from the age of 16 to 18. But I consumed so many different things that seemed so complicated. And so one of my aims when I became a coach, when I became a mentor, was being able to create frameworks and concepts that was so easy to implement and do and didn't feel like, oh, this is such a drag. So back to the framework. Upside down Y. You have the old, you have the new, and then you have the in-between identity. Now, what you need to do, the first thing is just understand what is your old identity, or what are you perceiving as your old identity? What are the things that are the in between, and what is part of your new identity? Now, the easiest is probably going to be your new identity, right? Because we spend so long, we spend a lot of our time, especially being into personal development, we spend a lot of our time actually visualizing and thinking and dreaming and talking about and writing down who the new person is. Maybe you're someone who wants a 6-figure business, 5-figure business, be a millionaire. Maybe you want to climb the ladder in your career. Maybe you want a family. Maybe you want to attract your soulmate. Maybe you want to hit a PB in the gym, whatever it is. Again, like I said, this can be used for any area of your life. But because I normally find with my clients that the area of understanding your new identity is the easiest to do, I would definitely start with that. And I would get out everything that you are imagining and you envision your highest self to do and be and feel. And that is the key. What would you be doing? How are you being? And how are you feeling? Get really, really specific. Then from there, we need to understand our old identity. What are parts of our old identity? Don't think too hard on this, and it's kind of going to like tie together nicely at the end of this. But start to think, what is your old identity? Maybe your new identity is someone who is outspoken and will speak their opinion. And maybe part of the old identity is actually someone who keeps really shy, who dims their light and is afraid to share their opinion in a group setting. So those are two very real examples. Now, probably the most important part when it comes to this identity framework, when it comes to self-concept work, is understanding this bit. So this section here of the upside down Y is, what is the in-between identity? This part of our identity and the way we identify with who we are is the exact reason why we feel stuck, why we feel stagnant, why we get a dopamine hit from watching free trainings and then taking no action, why we get a dopamine hit from reading lots of personal development books or listening to them or listening to a new podcast a day, and we feel like we're doing something, but again, no action. This is the reason why that keeps us in patterns of procrastinating, maybe scrolling on TikTok, scrolling on YouTube, scrolling on Instagram, of labeling yourself as a perfectionist, of feeling super overwhelmed, of being someone who rants to their friends or their partner all the time that nothing changes and life is so crap and all of that. So these are really the indicators of why you are struggling to make the transition from old to new. What you will see a lot of coaches speak about in a lot of frameworks is how can we just go from this old version of you into the new version. And what I've really implemented and really wanted to integrate with all of the work I do with my clients and in my containers is be able to get them to understand. And this is like, I'm literally sharing a framework from my clients, and I want you to be able to integrate and understand that there is a section that are familiar habits or familiar ways of beings. And every day that we go on with this series is going to go deeper and deeper into our subconscious programming, our nervous system regulation. But just for today, I want you to keep note of that is really the section of the things that are keeping you right where you are. It's the reason why you haven't made progress in your business for 6 months. It's the reason why you haven't made progress with attracting your soulmate partner. It's the reason why you feel you're trying to affirm everything and stay positive, but your bank account stays the same. These things are the in between, they're familiar. So when we're going into that, there is a fine line between your old identity and the in between. And this is why I kind of give that big spiel about understanding the in between is you need to understand that the traits, this is where we step into a conscious awareness. So when it comes to identity, there's two types of awareness that I speak about, and I'm going to give examples. So put that to aside for a moment. There is self-awareness that everyone bangs on about and everyone says, I'm so self-aware, and I used to say as well. And then there is conscious awareness. Self-awareness, and these are examples, self-awareness would be something where you say, okay, I'm aware, I'm super self-aware that I get triggered when my boyfriend likes other women's photos. This is just an example, right? So I'm so aware that I get really triggered. I'm so aware I get really, really angry. I get reactive and I scream and yell. A lot of people stay there because they go, well, I'm self-aware. I'm not dissociating. Like I know that I'm doing that. I know that when he does that, I go into a rage and I chuck a fit or I give him the silent treatment. I'm aware. The conscious awareness part is being able to be productive about that analysis of yourself. So I'm aware that I get triggered that my boyfriend likes another girl's photos. The conscious awareness part would say, and this is where it stems from. And this is the belief system that I have picked up. I've picked up this belief system because X, Y, Z. And this is why it is making me react like these. These are also my expectations and my standards in a relationship that I haven't voiced, communicated, I haven't even understood myself. See how there's like that again, that could be a whole other training in itself, but that's like an expansion of awareness. So when we are doing the upside down why framework, what I really, really encourage for you to do when you're going into the in-between is to step into a conscious awareness, understand what you were doing. If there was a camera watching you day to day, what are the things that it would pick up that are keeping you from actually progressing in the way that you desire? What are the things that it is visually seeing of you doing? And when you understand those things, and then we can tap into the internal, like what are you feeling on the day to day? You get this dopamine spike from listening to a podcast, a self-help podcast, and then you feel that you regress down and you feel like you're not making progress. Those are the types of things that I want to see when you are writing down your in between. Because when we understand those things, it's not so much about trying to get rid of everything to do with our old identity. It's more so, how am I shifting? How am I shifting the things in my in between? Now, the shifting part is really rooted in our subconscious mind, is really rooted in our nervous system, how we're regulated. It's rooted in neurologically, what are we doing? And neuroscience states that we live day to day 90% in our past, in our history. So those two, this is why it's a big part of my framework, WoMastery framework, a big part of WoMastery, the Mastermind. All the details for that are in the link in the bio. Oh my God, I'm so used to saying in the show notes below for my podcast, and we're going to be going into those in the next couple of days. But that's something to bring to your awareness, that all the concepts and all the frameworks that I'm sharing, they're going to be like links. They're going to link together. And by the end of this, in your journal, in your notebook, you are going to have all these frameworks that link that are going to help help you create a sustainable change. Because this type of work and the things that I'm sharing with you is all about how can I create a change that's maintainable, that's sustainable, that is going to stick. But how, even when I have the bad days or when something doesn't feel like it's going in the way that I want it to, because hey, that's life, then what are the frameworks that I can use for that? So from today, go away, take your time, do the upside down why framework, understand yourself. A lot of people want to change, they want to be someone brand new, they want to attract all of the money and the wealth, the status, the nice items in the entire world, but they actually don't understand who they currently are and what they are currently doing. So start with this. This is the very first step. This is why this is day one of Unbecoming. And then I will see you tomorrow for day two, where we get the second link for making a change in who you are and rewriting your reality. Bye.